Fact 1. Born on December 18, 1948, in Burbank, California, Edmund Kemper presented troubling behavior from an early age. Edmund Emil III was the serial killer responsible for 10 grisly murders that terrorized Northern California's sleepy city of Santa Cruz from 1964 to 1973. Known for abducting and killing female students before dismembering their bodies and hiding them in remote areas along the coast, Ed Kemper also murdered his grandparents, mother and his mother's best friend. Fact 2. He showed signs of severe mental disturbance from an early age. As a child, Kemper buried the family cat alive, then dug it up, decapitated it, and put its head on a stake. Kemper forced his sisters to play disturbing games like electric chair and gas chamber. He would make them blindfold him and lead him to a chair, where he pretended to writhe in agony until he died. Fueled by dark thoughts, he started decapitating his sisters' dolls. Kemper later said, "I remember there was actually a sexual thrill when you hear that little pop, and pull their heads off and hold them up by the hair." Fact 3. Kemper's mother began to focus her aggression on her teenage son. She made him sleep in the basement, claiming that he might hurt his sisters. She regularly berated and insulted him, telling him that no woman would ever fall in love with him. After a fight with his grandmother in 1964, then 15-year-old Kemper shot and killed her in the kitchen, and when his grandfather returned to the house, he shot and killed him, too. He later explained to authorities that he killed his grandmother to see what it felt like, and that he killed his grandfather so he wouldn't have to grieve the loss of his wife. Fact 4. Following the murder of his grandparents, a variety of tests led to his being diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and sent to Atascadero State Mental Hospital, a maximum security facility for mentally ill convicts. When he was released at the age of 21, the professionals at the hospital declared him to be a perfect example of the benefits of rehabilitating youthful offenders. On November 29, 1972, Kemper's juvenile record was permanently sealed so that he could go on with his life. In the meantime, he had moved back home with his domineering mother. Fact 5. Kemper is noted for his height of 6 feet 9 inches and for his high intellect, possessing an IQ of 145. Edmund wanted to work and applied as a state trooper. After being denied a job as a state trooper because he was deemed too large at 6'9" and 300 pounds, Kemper decided to take up an available position at the Department of Transportation. Fact 6. In 1972, he started his killing spree. First, he murdered an 18-year-old girl named Marian Pess, then an 18-year-old Anita Lucchesa. Once home, Kemper raped the bodies. He then dismembered them, placed the body parts into plastic bags, and disposed of them. Shortly after that, he murdered 15-year-old Aiko Ku. The next year he murdered 3 more girls, 19-year-old Cindy Shaw, 23-year-old Rosalind Thorpe, and 21-year-old Alice Liu. He even buried a severed head from one victim in his mother's garden and left it facing toward her bedroom. According to him, he did this because his mother always wanted people to look up to her. Fact 7. On April 20, 1973. That night, Kemper bludgeoned his mother to death with a claw hammer while she was sleeping. He then decapitated her and raped her severed head before using it as a dartboard. He also screamed at his mother's head for an hour straight. Kemper also cut out her tongue and larynx and placed them in the garbage disposal. But the mechanism couldn't break down the tough vocal cords and ejected the tissue back into the sink. On the same night, he invited his mother's best friend, 59-year-old Sally Howlett, over to the house for dinner and a movie. When Howlett arrived, he strangled her to death, before leaving a note to the police by a note he left on the table. Despite him phoning police to confess his crimes, officers did not take his call seriously. Fact 8. Kemper faced 8 counts of first-degree murder. He attempted to end his own life twice while awaiting trial. While Kemper's attorney tried to enter a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, Court-appointed psychiatrists found Kemper to be sane, despite a confession of cannibalism, which Kemper later recanted. Kemper requested death by torture. However, California had a moratorium on the death penalty during that time. He received 7 years to life for each count of first-degree murder, to be served concurrently. Instead of prison, Kemper was sent to the California Medical Facility. Fact 9. Edmund Kemper and other inmates were part of a program called Volunteers of Vacaville. This non-profit organization started the Blind Project. Its mission is to help both the visually impaired and those who are incarcerated. Simply put, the inmates provide listening material for the blind while the organization teaches them a variety of skills, including Braille transcription. Kemper lent his voice to record hundreds of audiobooks, including Flowers in the Attic, Star Wars, and more. He specifically spent over 5,000 hours worth of recording between 1977 and 1987. Fact 10. Kemper told the psychiatrist Donald T. Lund that he felt scared when committing his crimes, that he didn't realize the seriousness of what he had done until after it was done, that he didn't black out, and that my sense of values were rather different.